Hola, bon dia, and thank you for tuning in to our YouTube channel, Our Continuing Adventure, what it's like to live here in Portugal. I'm Ross.
And I'm Kathleen.
And we just got back from part one of our Portuguese Camino, and we wanted to share with you some of the food that we experienced in the north, in the Minho district area. One in particular was this amazing soup. I'm going to have to look at the name. I think it's Papas de Sarrbulho. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But the food here in Portugal is really amazing. But it's not just the cuisine. It's what goes into the food that we've discovered makes a big difference.
You know, ever since we've been in Portugal, which is now close to 9 months, we have talked to people and we've experienced ourselves the great quality of food. And you know what? People say, how come I can eat that bread? Or how come when I eat here, I don't have the symptoms that I have at home, and I'm not having acid reflux, or I'm not having this or that or whatever. And it's like, yeah, something is definitely different here. And we're not scientists, so we haven't done real true research, but we started reading more labels and asking people that live here also, you know, what they're finding. You know, it's crazy, but you can eat bread here. Most people can eat bread that don't do real well with bread back in the United States. They do use, I guess, a different kind of wheat. They don't use GMO. They don't use GMO. In the United States, I think almost everything is GMO, genetically modified, especially corn for sure, guarantee. Here, it's not, and in some areas, they don't allow it at all. I don't know if it's strictly forbidden, but it's even a little pack of microwave popcorn has the non-GMO symbol on the front. It's like, you're kidding me. Wow, no GMO and things that we can eat and enjoy are here.
And it definitely has something to do with the wheat, because in looking different things up, it appears that the U.S. uses what's called red wheat, or red wheat grain, which is harder. And in the EU, they use what's called white wheat, which is supposed to be a softer wheat. So I don't know how much difference that makes. But again, like Kathleen said, people come here and say, I can eat everything without any reaction. And then, here's something really interesting. It has to do with sugar.
Okay, so check this out. So we have learned in the United States that so many products have high fructose corn syrup. And it's a sweetener, of course, and I guess it must be pretty cheap to produce and to add to just about everything. Well, here, you don't find it. As a matter of fact, I was avoiding ketchup here because I thought, oh no, it's got high fructose corn syrup, and then I read the label, and it's not in there, it's sugar. And we all know about sugar, but we do know where sugar comes from, and it doesn't do the same stuff to you, evidently, as high fructose corn syrup. Yay! So we are excited about that for sure.
And you've looked at other products too.
Yep.
And that we get, and it's sugar. It's not high fructose corn syrup, which is crazy. Because back in the States, if we wanted that, we'd have to get what's called organic.
So my level of trust in the food that we purchase here is way greater. I'm just like not obsessed about reading labels like in the United States, but here I'm going, you know, I feel it's healthier, I feel it's greater, it tastes good too.
One of the things that we noticed too was that in the regulations, the agricultural industry here has its own governing agency, but the practices here are a little bit different. Not all herbicides and pesticides that are used in the US are used here in the EU as well. So I think that makes a difference as far as the quality and healthiness of our food as well.
And recently in the United States, we found out about something called meat glue, which is
Meat glue.
Yeah, it sounds disgusting, but transglutaminase or thrombin, and it is used widespread in the United States in all kinds of products, not just in meat, fish, other things too, maybe deli stuff.
It was in yogurt too.
Yeah, maybe yogurt. Anyway, and it's disguised. They don't always say transglutaminase. They say it by other names. It's tricky, but you don't find that really here either.
It's even listed as like natural ingredient.
Yeah,
and
because it is natural.
Yeah.
It's a natural enzyme, but it's been crazy played with in the lab, and a lot of people are pretty convinced that this is a very unhealthy addition to food.
Excuse me.
So, yay!
What I found crazy was that meat glue will be used to put two pieces of steak, let's say, together, like in a restaurant, to make it look like a really good piece of meat. So you're having two different pieces of meat glued together before it's grilled and served to you.
Yeah.
And we know people that have issues that they didn't know about because they were like, oh, how come I don't feel so good? And they took tests and we found out that they were reacting to meat glue. And anyway, so it's something that we have just been introduced to, and it's like, oh, it's not used here.
One more thing to deal with.
In the EU.
And one more thing we don't have to worry about here because I don't meat glue, yuck.
So we'll put several of the links in the description below if you want to start on your own research and find out a little bit more. So back to what we opened up with, and that was about the cuisine, about food here in Portugal. And one thing in particular, one food that we just recently experienced was papas de Sarrbulho, which is a soup. Soup is big here in Portugal. Portugal is a soup culture. In fact, I don't think McDonald's was allowed to open here in Porto until they included soup on the menu. One of the most, I think, popular is called caldo verde, which is a soup with sausage and greens and everything. Kathleen has made it several times. It's delicious. But this papas de Sarrabulho is unique to the Minho region, which is north of here in northern Portugal. Some of the ingredients people may not particularly appreciate. It has, I think, pork blood in it, pork sausage, chicken, cornmeal. It's a very dark, kind of thick soup, but man, it was good. We were in this little padaria in Barcelos before we came home, and it was local padarias. Explain padarias a little bit.
It's like a bakery, and the bakeries here also sell other food. Plus, they have a bar, okay? Because, you know, people with their baked goods also have wine and beer and cocktails, I guess, everything. Port wine.
And the padarias are like a community gathering place. It was Saturday night and the place was buzzing. The whole community was there, which is, when I say community, that means children, grandparents, everybody. It's not just for one age group. There was music playing. The owner was just whizzing around. He was so big, but there was a smile on his face because this was his business and people were having fun. And he brought out, his English wasn't all there. Our Portuguese isn't big, but through hand signals and pointing at the menu and some explanation, we were trying to get a nice bowl of soup. And he brought one out and showed us what it was and said we needed to try this. So we did. At the same time, we were trying to pick a wine, and he was, we were not sure. So he brought 3 bottles of wine out, set them on the table, placed the wine opener, and said, well, pick the one you want, open it, and then we're good. And he went off to do some other stuff, which was really a lot of fun because it was just so relaxed, and he was welcoming and very gracious, and we definitely had a good time. What else about the padaria that we wanted to talk about?
Well, one of the things that I wanted to say was that if you like coffee, you're in for a real treat in Portugal for sure, because every place, every bar, Every bakery, every restaurant, of course, all has one of those fancy coffee machines that make the espresso, that make this all the fancy stuff. The place could look really not so inviting, and you come and you see one of these mega awesome machines behind the counter, and all the china cups stacked up, because everybody here wants their coffee not in paper. Yay, in a real cup. If it's a little espresso cup or a bigger one. But you know, when you come, you can Google how to order coffee in Portugal. There's different ways that you could ask for it, the different sizes, the different strengths, and whether you want milk or not. It's just so great. And you always have a consistently good coffee. Always. No, never junk, and doesn't, unless you ask for a paper cup, like to go, and people like to sit over their coffee here. You're not going to get it in paper. Yay!
One last thing. Oh, yeah, one last thing. One of my favorites, and they have this at the Padaria. It's not just in the Minho district. We have it here in our area. But I grew up with a grandmother that, you know, liked chicken parts, chicken hearts, chicken livers, chicken gizzards, all that. And you can get a saucer of moelhas. It's chicken gizzards. And they are so good. You just, you know, with a toothpick, one at a time, and a glass of wine. So when you're here, you gotta experience the chicken gizzards.
It's just not an American thing.
It's and when we were at this padaria up in Barcelos, the saucers of chicken gizzards were coming out one after another. They were having everybody was just eating them up that night. So thanks for tuning into our channel. Very much appreciated. We hope you have as much fun watching these as we do putting them together. And remember to share, to like, and to subscribe. Definitely go down to the description below, and you can find the links to several of the topics that we talked about. And if you want to email us, you can send us a message at OurContinuingAdventure@gmail.com, and we will do our best to get you an answer about life here in Portugal. And of course, as we always say, life is just one adventure after another.
What adventure are you on today?
Hey, as an extra added treat, I thought what I would do is just as a kind of a bonus feature here, throw in right at the end of this video, of this post, some of the pictures and video from our part 1 of our Camino Portuguese. Kathleen and I did walk the Camino France back in 2012. That was 500 miles across Spain, starting in France and up and over the Pyrenees. It took us like 41 days. The Camino Portuguese is a little bit shorter, about 150 miles, and we've decided to do it in pieces. So we did part 1, we got up to Barcelos, and then in a few months we'll take the train back up there and do part 2 for us and just work our way up towards Santiago. So enjoy the pictures and some of the video. And again, thank you very much for tuning in to our continuing adventure. Please like, share, and subscribe. right, so we've been walking, I don't know, like 3 hours this morning. It was pouring down rain at the beginning, but we've taken a little break here at a little cafe. I don't even know where we are, but it's like the first cafe we've come across in 3 hours. So we've got great music going on. We have, we picked up, we got 2 ham and cheese sandwiches that were made right in front of us at the bar, and 2 copas of vinho tinto, and it's one that we've had back in Porto, so it was like, oh boy, great. So €5 for, again, 2 glasses of wine, good pours, and a couple of sandwiches that we're going to devour here as we rest our feet and our backs. Our packs are taking a rest too, our rain gear's drying out, and we're just sitting here enjoying our second day on the Portuguese Camino, and just relaxing, one step at a time.
Do you know that we are the only U.S. citizens that we have met on the Camino so far? Everybody's from elsewhere. Israel, Brazil, Prague, where else?
I don't know, but they all speak
Egypt and Germany.
and Germany, and they all speak great English,
They all
so
speak English.
it's embarrassing. But we're working on our Portuguese, so até logo. So we're just coming into Barcelos, and this is kind of a Camino rest area, and you can see all the shoes that people have left because they just finally gave out. And then it's a little picnic area, and then there's the Cock of Barcelos. There's a story around that. We can explain that later, but it's a famous story, and it's mystical and magical and a lot of fun.